Folks, welcome back to another edition of the ISD Official Visit. I have a special guest today, Jake Weingarten from StockRisers.com. He does a great job covering college basketball recruiting on a national level, very plugged in, and we have the early signing period opening up here. So figured, hey, let's do some basketball talk on this week's ISD Official Visit. Like I said, you can follow Jake at StockRisers.com and at Jake Weingarten at Twitter. Jake, thanks a lot for joining us, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so big news for Notre Dame here with, it's Tuesday. Just got a verbal commitment from 2022 Florida forward Ven-Allen Lubin, kind of rounding out Notre Dame's 2022 hoops class. Why is Ven-Allen such a big get for Notre Dame?
For me and, looking at Mike Brey's past rosters and who he's been able to bring in, I actually was talking about this with somebody the other day. With Ven-Allen Lubin, you're getting a guy right off rip that, has an ACC-ready body, a physical guy that can, go from end to end, baseline to baseline, and he's such a very talented prospect. And, to go into the ACC, go into a high major basketball program at that age and, straight out of high school, and to be able to be a physical specimen like that, it's a really big deal. You look at some guys that, go into their freshman year that need to redshirt, due to size and, need to develop and stay in the weight room. But, with a guy like that, he's coming right in with an ACC ready body and, he'll be able to perform right away. And that's a big deal to, bring in a prospect that could step on the floor right away and produce.
What are the strengths of his game? I mean, it seems like a versatile guy, play inside, outside, put it on the floor a little bit, shoot a little bit, get dirty in there. What are the strengths of his game?
Yeah, like you just said, getting dirty and, being gritty. To play at Notre Dame, you have to play in the ACC. You have to be very physical and gritty. He brings that, a lot of versatility, can score the ball really well. Obviously a capable defender with his size. So, I mean, if you're Mike Brey, you're getting a guy that could be an instant impact, as a freshman, and, to be versatile like that. And like I, specified multiple times, the importance of, being physical and versatile, in your first season, yet just, throughout your college career. This is a great pickup, top 80 recruit, could continue rising, like I said, great size, ACC ready body. And, for Mike Brey, you're really happy getting a guy like this.
Yeah, he's kind of the cherry on top of this recruiting class here, but I think the jewel, obviously, is combo guard JJ Starling. Notre Dame put a lot of work into him, one of the top prospects they've ever landed in the last decade plus. Why is JJ such a special prospect?
Oh, I was saying this earlier to a friend of mine, just, his ability to score the ball, it's effortless. You look at some guys on the offensive end, they get a little carried away, turn the ball over, not really making the right decisions. But with JJ Starling, it's like, okay, look, once you get on the offensive side of the ball, he reads the floor so well, where his teammates are. Playmaking, in my opinion, isn't his strongest trait. His scoring, like I said, is effortless. I once heard someone call his floater deadly. He has a great floater, scores the ball really well. Like I said, high IQ, and just his ability on the offensive end to make it look so easy. He's not too fast paced or any of that. He's just always trying to make the right play, and to get a diamond in the rough like that, a guy that Duke even pursued real heavily to play their guard spot, that's a big deal to get a guy like that. And like I said with Ven-Allen, if you're Mike Brey, this is a guy that could come in right away, instant impact, could even fight for a starting spot, obviously. But like I said, just his ability to make it look so effortless, for a person that loves to watch basketball and, does it for a living, to watch JJ Starling play. And, on the offensive side of the ball especially, it's very fun to watch. And, if you're a Notre Dame fan, this is a guy you think about Jerry and Grant and the impact he had at the guard spot at Notre Dame. You look at JJ Starling, it could be a very similar type deal.
I talked to Jim Hart at City Rocks, I think it was probably 2 years ago, first time I talked to him about JJ. He said NBA jump shot, legit NBA jump shot. And at that point, I don't know, he's a sophomore. You see that from him? Just legitimate NBA jump shot?
Yeah, I mean, with jump shooters, man, I always see room for improvement. That's obviously not JJ's, best aspect of his game. Like I said, I just feel like his IQ and his ability to make everything look so effortless is what stands out for me. If he could make that jump shot a little more consistent, shoot the three ball a little more, and, like I said, his playmaking, he could definitely get others involved when he needs to. I think the best thing about JJ Starling, he'll do whatever he needs to do to win, and he plays to his role. If that means getting teammates involved, he's going to do it. If that means, running a play, getting a hockey assist, for example, then you do that too. But, like I said, just effortless on the offensive side of the ball. And, I could see his jump shot definitely, also having a steady impact on his offense.
Maybe the most intriguing prospect in this class, and the first one that came on board was 2022 forward Dom Campbell. Talked to some guys in Notre Dame. They're like, listen, I'm not going to compare him to Bonzi Colson. He's a high school kid, but at the same time, kind of Bonzi, to see Bonzi-like qualities. He really seemed like he reshaped his body over the last year or so. What do you see from Dom, and what's kind of his upside?
Yeah, we were just talking about it with Ven-Allen, a guy being able to come in with, being ready physically. That's so important, especially in the ACC, which is arguably the best conference in college basketball. You need to come in and, like you just said, he's reshaping his body. He was once unranked, and, now he's shot his way into the top 100, which is a huge deal. And, for him to reshape his body physically makes him much more versatile and agile around the rim. And, you talk about Bonzi and those comparisons. You just remember how much of an impact he had around the rim. And, there were times where he was unstoppable. I saw him at the ACC tournament as a kid, and, he was just a dominant force. And, that's what they want Dom Campbell to be in, reshaping your body physically and, getting ready to play at the level he's going to play at. I think he's done a really good job of, reshaping his body and getting right. And now he has a whole senior year to, get that even spot down. And, Ven-Allen going into the ACC with a body like that and being physically ready is important. And I think he's done a good job of that.
Like I said, Jake, you do a great job covering this stuff on a national level at StockRisers.com. What do you think? How does this class set Notre Dame up, both in the ACC and on a national level? And what do you think about this kind of resurgence of recruiting for Notre Dame this cycle?
I think this is one of Mike Brey's best classes, personally. And Dom Campbell, Ven-Allen, those are two guys, like I said, can go into the ACC physically ready, and, they're top 100 prospects. And then you got JJ Starling, who just makes offense look so effortless. So, this three-man class, underrated, talented, ceiling is super high. I'm big on JJ Starling. I think obviously having him as this recruiting class's headliner, is also awesome. For him to choose them over the options he had was definitely something cool to see. But, you have three guys that are in the top 100. You can never really complain about that. And, those guys that are in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s tier, those are guys that have a lot to prove. And, for Dom Campbell and Ven-Allen, who are just shooting into the top 100, they have a lot to prove during their senior year. And I think right now it's looking from the outside looking in, it's a very great class. But, 6-7 months from now when they're finishing their high school careers and, getting into the thick of things and going to Notre Dame for summer workouts, I think by then this class is going to be unbelievable after their senior year. So, you got three guys that have a lot to prove and three guys with major ceilings. So if you're Mike Brey, for me, this is one of the best classes he's been able to reel in my opinion.
What do you think it says about Brey and the program in general? Recruiting definitely needed a jolt. It was kind of stale, stagnant. And, they provided one. It's obvious. Brey's driving up to get JJ in a Mustang or whatever it was, and just bringing the entire staff down to Orlando to see Ven-Allen during the contact period. What does it say about, the importance the staff is placing on recruiting again?
Notre Dame basketball is back. I could say that. Obviously things quieted down for a little bit with Notre Dame basketball and recruiting, but for him to go out and, do what he did, I think it was a little bit of a statement. You see what other ACC teams are able to do recruiting-wise. Obviously, you got to compete with the Dukes and the Virginias and Louisville and Florida State and, all those schools. So to have to be in that conference, you got to recruit. You don't want to be on the lower end of the ACC every single year. Like, it's not what you want to do. So for them to be able to go out and, give a full effort and be like, okay, this 22 class, like, we need to lock in and focus on it and get the guys that we want that fit Notre Dame basketball culture. And, Mike Brey did that. And, I think, the fans will reflect on it and they'll obviously be really appreciative for what they have. But, this could be the start of something. Obviously, Mike Brey has been at it for years, so it's not really the start of something. But, from a recruiting aspect, to be a little quiet on the recruiting end for a couple of years and then make this big jolt, like you said, that stuff is noticeable. And I'm definitely noticing it, to bring in 3 guys of that caliber that, are top 100 and, like I said, could be even higher after their senior year. It reflects on Mike Brey and the staff and, what they're trying to do, and that's build a winning culture.
All right, Jake, we really appreciate it. Like I said, check them out, StockRisers.com. Does a great job there. Check him out on Twitter at Jake Weingarten. It's at JakeWeingarten on Twitter. Jake, we really appreciate it, man. I know you'll be busy this week, so enjoy.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.